All right, this is going to be a thing back to back, guys. Back to back videos. You got to have it. Let's talk about Halo Infinite Season 2 because it's finally here and there's a lot to say. Halo Infinite Season 2 has officially dropped, and this is something that a lot of people in the Halo community thought this is going to save Halo Infinite. This is going to put it over and make sure that it survives into the rest of 2022 and make sure we are thriving with content. And when people saw the roadmap that they put out a few weeks back, they then kind of started to shift their opinion because it seemed like all the things that they were hoping were going to be there for season 2, and hell, what we thought were going to be there in season 1 weren't there. They were in the future. They were in season 3. They were in season 4 more than likely, from what we're to understand. And when season 2 was getting ready, I continued to hear murmurs of, well, that's it, Halo Infinite's dead. And then on the other side, I was hearing murmurs of, well, Halo Infinite saved, content, here we go, let's go, this is exciting. And me, I sat there in the middle like, yeah, we're gonna get content, it's gonna keep us busy for a small bit of time, and that's about it. And I think I was right. I think it's not entirely doom and gloom, but I also don't think it is the life-saving, you know, amazing thing that people were hoping it was going to be. And today we're going to break down as much of that as I possibly can. But before we get too far into this video, I want to clarify something right here. This stuff is now showing up in season 2, 6 months into launch. Did this stuff need to be in the beginning of the launch of the game? Yes, a lot of this stuff that they are doing in season 2 should have been there at launch. Are there things that are coming in season 3 and season 4 and probably in the future that should have been there at launch? Yes. So if you hear me praise something and say something is good, don't take this as me being accepting of 343 basically delaying something and, you know, now coming out with it. I still think it's unacceptable that some of these things that should have been there at launch are not there at launch and still might not be there at launch. So just want to clarify that before we get into the video. So with the launch of Halo Infinite Season 2, we have a number of new things. A brand new 100 tier battle pass with up to 180 new rewards, 2 new multiplayer maps, Catalyst for Arena and Breaker for Big Team Battle. More on that here in a bit. New multiplayer game modes, quote unquote, and playlists. First, you have Last Spartan Standing, a mini battle royale mode that honestly is pretty fun, but we're going to talk about that again here soon enough. King of the Hill with some changes that honestly I'm not that big of a fan of, and new rotational playlists which include Rumble Pit, which there are some things about that I have to talk about, and supposedly attrition, which I wouldn't say that that's a new game mode. We had that a while back, but I guess now it's playable in custom games. I don't know why this is in the patch notes. Don't blame me, I'm not the one that wrote this stuff. But we also have some other improvements. Endless weapon drills now are available in Academy, which are really nice. It is nice to just go in there and warm up my battle rifle for a good 5 to 10 minutes before I jump into matchmaking. The opacity and thickness of player outlines can now be adjusted, including the ability to disable them altogether. This actually kind of looks nice, and I did play a match or two with this disabled, and honestly I could see myself playing without the outline. It isn't necessary. A new 120 hertz mode for the Xbox Series X. Again, quality improvement. Probably should have been there at launch, but nonetheless. A balance changes affecting melee, the Ravager, and multiple vehicles and more. And on top of all that, dozens of bug fixes improvements and included improvements for PC stability. So overall, that sounds like quite a lot of content. Well, we're going to talk about as much as I can. If I miss something, if there's some minuscule thing that they changed that I don't absolutely cover here or talk about, make sure to let me know down in the comment section down below. I would love to talk about it and hear your guys' perspective on it. So if there's something I missed or something that you're really excited about, let me know down in the comments below. But let's start with the new 100 tier battle pass, which honestly, I sat down and I went in my Discord when season 2 launched, and we went through the entire battle pass, me, myself, and a few members of my community. And some of these things are nice. There's some good stuff here, but some of these things are just really out there. And overall, this is a nice improvement. It really is. This is definitely better than season's 1 battle pass, and the fact that they added currency to the battle pass is a nice touch. Unfortunately, it does follow the trope of just having enough currency to basically make sure that you get next season's battle pass, which I guarantee you in 6 months people are going to spend that 1,000 credits. So good luck trying to save that. I know people, they're gonna see something shiny and say I want it, and they're going to get it. But it is nice to see that the battle pass did get a little bit of improvement, and there are things here that I like, there are things that I dislike, but between season 1 and season 2, I would say there's more things here that I'm actually going to use and consider an improvement on quality than something I hate. Of course, there's things that I think stick out like a sore thumb, or things that I think don't fit the Halo aesthetic, but nonetheless, it is an improvement over season 1. And speaking of new events, we actually have a brand new in-game event that is started with the launch of season 2 alongside the battle pass, and that is the narrative event of Interference, a brand new storyline featuring your own Spartan, kinda, along with the Lone Wolves, a group of individual ODST-like Spartans that go on the hunt for the Banished after the fall of Cortana, and unfortunately run into a situation with a evil Banished AI, the first of its kind, that has hacked into one of the Spartans' armor and is holding them hostage. Now it is up to you and your fellow Spartans to lure it out of the Spartans' UI and into a trap where you now play battle royale like game modes on Breaker for the last Spartan standing. Now this event is similar to, say, Cyber Showdown, but with an actual narrative to it, which is cool and something that again should have been there during season 1, but it does have a little bit of a more enjoyable feel to it compared to a Cyber Showdown or something along those lines, where it was an actual storyline and there's a purpose behind them having this last Spartan standing mode and going to this Breaker simulation and trying to lure this AI out to a trap so that way you can capture something that, honestly, from what they've said, we've never seen before, a Banished AI, the first of its kind of interesting idea. But also, we have seen in the novels Spartans get their actual armor taken over by AIs. This is actually something that happened in a number of the novels, including Fred, before the events of Halo 5 Guardians. But a lot of people that don't know this or don't pay attention to the novels are gonna be like, that's interesting, kinda like how is that a thing? But at the same time, still pretty cool. The actual items of the event are nothing special. They're basically on par with the battle pass items, but it is cool to see them tie this in with their brand new game mode, Last Spartan Standing, which I guess we should talk about now. So what is Last Spartan Standing? Well, I guess the best way to describe it is a mini battle royale. How it works is that there are a total of 12 players. Now, this to me seemed a little odd due to the fact that now we can have up to 24 players, but at the same time, we are only using big team battle maps. And not all the big team battle maps, it's just Breaker to tie into the narrative. Kind of disappointing, but at the same time, I understand from the narrative perspective, but again, narrative shouldn't always affect gameplay, modes, and so on. But how does it work? Well, 12 players basically land in the map. You have 5 lives and you start at level 1 with a pistol and a disruptor. As you kill, get assists, and or basically collect XP, bonus XP, which I'll talk about here in a second, off of fallen and eliminated Spartans, you level up your Spartan yourself and get different loadouts. The last Spartan standing, as everyone else is eliminated, wins. Pretty simple, right? It is. And there's a lot of fun things about it. It is a cool idea of a battle royale, but at the same time, there is of course a few issues and a lot of misunderstandings, starting with the bonus XP. The first time that myself and other people were playing this mode, whether they didn't pay attention to what 343 Industries had to say about the mode and how it worked with the bonus XP, or just didn't pay attention at all to anything, didn't know that with the bonus XP, it isn't bonus XP towards your actual battle pass. It's just bonus XP to level up your loadout, so that way you have the better guns, whether that's a commando, a mangler, a assault rifle, a bulldog. You basically earn this XP through that way. But I saw a lot of people who were basically risking life over limb and burning through their lives trying to collect this bonus XP because they thought it was for their battle pass, including some of my friends, and it got a little bit frustrating. It then later got clarified that this was not for your battle pass, and it's more of a risk versus reward thing, just like it would be if you were trying to get for your battle pass, I guess. But at the end of the day, a lot of people just now use this as bait. After they understood the game mode, they would just eliminate a Spartan, let it sit there, and then as more people tried and tried, they would just rat their way through it, killing whoever showed up. And that kind of makes it not that fun when you literally are trying to get this to maybe catch up if you haven't gotten a ton of kills to begin with, or whether that is that you basically want to try and max out and get the top loadout so that way you can deal with whoever you're dealing with. It is something that a lot of people noticed. The other thing is that there is an insane amount of active camo and overshields landing on the map via drop pods. Basically, they land and they are basically your way of powering up and having an advantage. And throughout multiple games, and you're probably seeing some of this footage now, I didn't win a game of Last Spartan Standing yet. This is what I got to watch, was a ton of people basically taking an active camo, popping it, and then grabbing another one and back pocketing it, burning through it, waiting to run into someone, burning that one, grabbing another one, and it continued and continued. And that seemed to be the thing in the last two Spartans of person A has got overshield upon overshield, person B has active camo, or it's two guys dancing around each other with active camos, not knowing where the hell each other are and taking forever to end the game. And that is the other situation and a bug that myself and Scrubsy ran into. Now, they did say once you have been eliminated from the game, you can leave the game without penalty of XP or getting a quit ban. Unfortunately, I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend quitting at all, because one thing that we noticed, and this could be a bug, this could be just something that they didn't clarify very well, but if you leave the game, you will not receive your battle pass challenge commodities. You won't progress in your challenges or the battle pass from what I've seen. This happened a number of times to Scrubsy and a few others in my group where they got eliminated, they left, and then they didn't get their actual accommodations. They didn't get a single thing. And the thing is if they could just watch the actual match play out, that'd be great. But there also seems to be a day one glitch of the camera basically locking in place, and no matter what you do, no matter what button you press, you can't switch camera angles. This happened to me a few times. If I fell off the map for the final death of mine, basically my camera was stuck, and this happened to a few others I know of. So again, I would not recommend leaving the game. I would just let it play out. It's an unfortunate thing, but hopefully this will come as a patch sooner rather than later. Hopefully not by season 3. But that leads us into the other game modes that they added, and unfortunately I couldn't get you any land grab footage. Unfortunately, it was something that no matter what I did in Rumble Pit, I just couldn't get the game mode. But when it comes to King of the Hill, this is something that again drug up controversy, as they've changed how King of the Hill works. How it works is that the hill will move around the map as per usual, but what you have to do is get 3 points. And you're probably saying to yourself, 3 points? Don't you mean like 150? There's a bar, you fill it up, you win the match, right? No, you have to basically complete the ring and capture the ring. So what you do is you go to the ring, you control it, and for every section that you capture and fully fill the bar, that is 1 point. 3 points wins. And people aren't happy about this. And I kind of agree with them. Why did King of the Hill need to be changed? Is it because your other game mode that basically is focused around basically building up time? Is that the reason why? Are we accommodating for that? If so, I would switch both modes. Have that one be towards the capturing of points and gaining of points, and have King of the Hill be King of the Hill. What's frustrating for a lot of people, and this includes myself, is that there seems to be an insane focus on making these modes built around competitive and their esports and everything else, which is not what the common folk want. They want a game mode that's fun, havoc, crazy, wild. And unfortunately with King of the Hill, it's just very dumbed down and not what Halo players expect from King of the Hill. Now, there is some good news to this, I guess, but you can turn it supposedly to classic King of the Hill in custom games. If custom games actually worked, that would be nice, right? That's something that they still need a lot of work on sooner rather than later. But for the time being, King of the Hill is in the game, but a lot of people seem extremely disappointed in it. And you're probably saying to yourself at this point, gamer, this seems like a lot of doom and gloom. Didn't you say in your last video that you're kind of tired of that you're tired of talking about all the negatives going on with Halo Infinite? Yeah, I am. And unfortunately, the truth hurts. But there is a few silver linings when it comes to Halo Infinite Season 2, which I guess I can say the new rotational playlist of Rumble Pit is probably one of the best. I've never been a fan of free-for-all matches, and even though I did get a 47 or 48 in Halo 3 Lone Wolves, but that's nothing to really show off about. No, the truth is that I've never really been a fan of the free-for-all, sort of game mode, but I have to say Rumble Pit is a lot of fun. I've played a few games of it so far, and in that time I've gotten to play Fiesta, a traditional game mode that we've already had, a new one called Rocket Ball, where you have rockets and repulsors. I think that this one I can clarify on a little bit, and then Ninja Slayer, where it is energy swords and grapple shots. Those sound fun. Those are action sack like game modes, and honestly, they need to stay. They need to be in the game permanently. More of this, please. These were good. Now, first, let's talk about rockets and repulsors, or rocket ball, or whatever you want to call it. This was a ton of fun. The one thing that sucked is that the objective of the oddball felt like a third wheel. It felt like no one went for the objective because all people wanted to do was play rockets and repulsors. All they wanted to do was shoot rockets and repulse back at each other and didn't even focus. I think that the highest that the actual number got to on holding the ball was 57. Not even a little over halfway through the match, and it just sat there. And the match completed and no one cared. Everyone was having a blast playing this. So if I'm going to offer criticism of how to work rockets and repulsors, get rid of the oddball. No one wants it. We just want this game mode. This is absolutely fun, and I highly recommend, if you're going to spend time in this game, Rumble Pit is the way to go. But that also leads into the other game mode I played on the brand new map Catalyst called Ninja Slayer, which is energy swords and grapple shots, and my god, is this fun. These are the things that we've been missing from Halo for quite some time. People have wanted game modes that were fun, wacky, and silly. There has to be a balance, and I understand competitive is something that a lot of people focus on. A lot of people care about competitive, but the thing is that at the same time, you gotta have fun. That's what worked for Halo 2. That's what worked for Halo 3. That's what worked for Bungie, was that there was a balance of the game had to be fun first, then you let the companies like MLG and everything else turn them competitive. You let them have the tools to make it a competitive game mode and have competitive settings instead of building your whole game around competitive. But that's usually what happens whenever the company, the actual studio, is running your actual esports side. They focus too much on the competitive side. It's happened to the LCS, it's happened with CSGO, it's happened with a number of these games. You lose the fun factor and all you get is the serious stuff, and that seems to be a key issue with 343. But I have to say, when they do fun, they do it well, and these game modes are fun. So I'm gonna say playlist that I recommend you check out for season 2 is Rumble Pit. Rumble Pit is by far the absolute best. And I guess that means that we should actually talk about the 2 brand new maps, Catalyst and Breaker. These are honestly good maps. They aren't bad. Now, unfortunately, when it comes to Breaker, I haven't gotten to play a single match of Big Team Battle Breaker. I've gotten to play things like Last Spartan Standing. I've gotten the chance to maybe walk around the map in custom games, but that's about it. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten to play a full match on that, but maybe we'll do a video and maybe I'll give some better opinion on that. Overall, the design, the way the map plays, it is good. I do like the verticality of the map and how you can climb on parts of broken down ships and how vehicles even drive on this, which we're going to talk about vehicle handling here in just a minute. But then let's go to Catalyst, which I got to play all those wacky fun game modes on. Now, I did play King of the Hill on it, and I will say this map that is inspired by Epitaph is pretty damn good. It does do a good job, and aesthetically it does go back to those maps that people want. Again, something unique, something different, something that has a different aesthetic that isn't just bland, boring, and more of the same. This was a nice little bit of change of pace where aesthetically I like it. It looks amazing. I could stare at this map all freaking day. How it plays? Again, it's a relatively small map, but it plays great. It plays great in free-for-all. It plays great in King of the Hill. It plays great in Team Slayer. It overall plays great, and I think it's going to be a great addition to the map pool for Arena. Now, this does bring a little bit of criticism that I do have whenever it comes to the way that 343 categorizes maps. What I don't like is the idea of this map is only meant for Big Team Battle. This map is only meant for Arena. You know what I loved about Halo 3, Halo Reach, Halo 2 is that they weren't categorized. It was recommended that you play with this many players or that many players, but it wasn't a law. It wasn't something that was enforced. I mean, you would see maps like Standoff, in Halo 3 be a 4v4 map, but actually play decently well in Big Team Battle. Not everyone would agree on that, but still, it was an option. Same with many of these other maps throughout Halo's history. It was recommended doing a Big Team Battle, but it played just fine with 5v5. It didn't have to be a full lobby. It can play good either way, but unfortunately this mindset of it has to fit in this little bubble of what we want it to be and how people play it is kind of a broken mentality in my opinion, and doesn't do the maps justice. And that's kind of a flaw of actual design. Another thing is that people, unfortunately, were hoping for more maps. This is something that a lot of people expected for 6 months of waiting. They want more content, and I don't blame them. This is the problem with games as a service, and we noticed this with Halo 5 Guardians. When basically all the maps were free, a lot of them reused assets, a lot of them reused layouts. They were basically clone maps of maps we already have. With this, we don't have that same issue, but at the same time, it's the issue of less quality, less quantity, but it's free. Where one of the things that I've actually been someone in favor of this is bringing back map packs, because those map packs, even though yes, they basically split the community in some ways, kind of kept both the quantity and quality up, because you had to make those worth your dollar. The map packs had to be worth the money. I mean, look at what happened with the heroic map pack. That map pack did pretty well, but at the same time didn't do good enough because the quality and quantity just wasn't worth the dollar. And what did Bungie and Microsoft do? They made it free. They made it free to their community with, I believe, the launch of the legendary map pack. And that was what kept the quality of the maps going forward at a good pace, at a good quality. And you can do free maps, make it special. I mean, make it something that when you give it to them for free, they're excited, they're surprised that this is an awesome thing, not something that is like, well, this is our big event and these maps are free. We expect that. Do something different, do something unexpected. More maps is probably the criticism that I think many people in the community would have to say. All right, we've made this far in the video. Let's talk about the improvements, buffs, and needed nerfs that this game has received. And there's been actually a few of them. First of all, Warthog handling and vehicle handling is a lot better. It's not flippy dippy bullshit, and it doesn't flip your car every time you hit a small rock, which is a major change that I've had issues with 343 vehicles. Again, these aren't perfect, and I'm not a big fan of the air control, sort of thing that they do in these games, but again, they definitely handle a lot better. Another thing that is a welcome change is the improvement of the Brute Chopper. My favorite vehicle of all time finally has been improved, where the charge attack actually destroys vehicles. Now, there is a little bit of a caveat to this. You can destroy about 3 vehicles with the charge attack before your own chopper takes enough damage that it blows up itself. This is kind of a mixed bag. Some people like this change so that it isn't a super overpowered vehicle, but OGs like myself see this as kind of dumbing it down. Again, it's risk versus reward. Do you use the Brute Chopper's charge to wipe out an enemy Warthog that's causing you a ton of issues without any more hassle? Or do you conserve your chopper and just use the normal momentum running into the vehicle to wear it down like you were previously? It is a risk versus reward balancing act, and it's not terrible, but I will say it is a major improvement. But on top of that, we did get some weapon improvements, and unfortunately there are a few weapons here that I wish kind of got the buff, aka the Commando. There are some things that did get improved upon that kind of need it. First of all, the Ravager. The Ravager was a weapon that I liked in the actual beta. I liked it in the beta. Well, not the beta. Jesus. The flight. I liked the Ravager in the flight, where basically if you hit people with the 2 bursts of the Ravager, it was a kill. In the actual launch game, it didn't do dick. It barely did enough damage to kill people, to the point the gun felt practically useless. No more! This actually did get a major buff, to the point it's back to the way it was in the original flight. The other thing that got a nerf was the Mangler. The Mangler got a nerf where now you can't just 2-piece people. You can't just go bang, melee. No, that doesn't work. You're gonna have to put in a little bit more work. Now, it does wipe out your shields and health pretty significantly, to the point that you could basically make this a double melee, or even just fire melee, whatever you want to do. It's still pretty damn powerful of a gun, but it is nice to not get instantly 2-pieced around corners by waiting Mangler players. But those are all of the notes that I could think of and things that I could cover in a short amount of time, because I wanted to get this video out to you guys with quality and as much input as possible. And if there is things that I did miss, please mention them down in the comment section down below. I will try and respond to as many as possible, and I will be doing live streams of season 2 in the near future. But let's talk about my overall thoughts of season 2. Is season 2 nice to have? Is it nice to have 2 new maps, a new game mode that probably has a lot of potential, and some stuff that we've asked for? Yeah, it is. It is nice to have. But was it worth 6 months of waiting? Was it worth a 6-month wait from season 1 and now another 6-month wait for season 3? No, it wasn't. It really wasn't. King of the Hill should have been there at launch. Rumble Pit, there at launch. There should have been more maps at launch. Breaker and Catalyst could have been potentially great maps to have and would probably have helped the map pool significantly. And when it comes to season 2, we still don't even have everything that should be here. The actual Forge open beta, not coming until September. Campaign network co-op, late August. Campaign mission replays, again, late August. And another thing that disappointingly got removed was the tank cannon glitch, which wasn't even a glitch, it was more like a feature because people loved it. This is the issue of 343 not liking fun, it seems like. Yet Rumble Pit is probably the funnest thing in this entire season. Again, was season 2 worth 6 months of waiting? In my opinion, no. But is it stuff that does help and make the game a little bit more enjoyable? Yeah, but at the end of the day, is that going to last another 6 months till season 3? Unfortunately, I'm unsure, and I don't know if Halo Infinite's future is gonna last to see that future of 6 months from now.